everybody! So as you saw today, we went grocery shopping and we got all kinds of awesome fruits and veggies, and I'm so excited to share with you this is one of my favorite recipes to do. I love a good minestrone soup, and this is vegan because most minestrone soups from the ones that I know usually start with bacon fat or anything like that. We're going to be using olive oil tonight. So this is not a Forks Over Knives approved recipe, but it is one of my favorite recipes, and I'm so excited to share with you guys. As I said before in my other live video, I am handing out one of these free cookbooks. So if you like and share and comment on any of my videos, any of them at all, I will put you in the drawing for a free Forks Over Knives cookbook, and it's amazing. It's a wonderful life changer. Again, I wouldn't be handing it out if I didn't believe in it so much myself. So I'm so excited to share this recipe with you. As I said yesterday, I usually don't, soak things overnight. Whenever we were meat eaters, I used to forget all the time to put my meat out overnight to get it to defrost and everything. And apparently I'm bad about that with beans and cashews whenever I'm trying to use different sauces. Well, here's a tidbit, little bit of a trick. If you boil the beans on the stove for about 30 minutes, you'll get the same result as an overnight bean, basically. And what you're looking for, I'm going to show you real quick, you're looking for the bean to be doubled in size. Just like that. And I've got an everything bean variety soup that I got at TJ Maxx, I don't know, a couple months ago. I haven't used it, and I was looking around for beans because I wanted to do the minestrone soup because minestrone usually has a ton of vegetables in it, but it also has a ton of beans. And so I realized that I still had this in the cupboard, and I was like, oh, there we go. But once again, like I said, I didn't do the overnight bean thing, so I was like, oh, I'll just boil it over the stove for 30 minutes and you get the same result, basically. So, here we go. Alright, I have a cast iron. This is probably by far the most used thing in my kitchen besides my KitchenAid, okay? And the reason why is because it makes everything delicious. Now, I have been very adamant about my Tasty cookware lately, and I'm still using it, obviously. I used it to cook my beans in. But if you want a really good, in-depth soup, this is the pot for you. This is the Martha Stewart 8-quart cast iron skillet, and it's absolutely amazing. It will give you, hi Veronica, how's it going, girl? It will give you that depth of flavor that you're looking for in a really good soup, all right? Now, the reason why I'm starting so late is because we kind of had a late lunch, so we're going to be having a late dinner too, but, all's good. All right, as I said before, I am using olive oil in this, so this is not a Forks Over Knives approved recipe, but a little bit of olive oil every now and again won't hurt you. So, here we go. I've got 1 red onion. And you want the pan nice and searing hot. You want to hear that sizzle. Really good. And again, 1 red onion. I use the whole thing. We're going to be taking our fresh garlic because that's what I got in my bountiful baskets. I love getting fresh garlic. Usually, I like my Costco already done garlic, but we're going to use the fresh one since I got like 6 things of this. I'm probably going to be using about 4, maybe 5 cloves of fresh garlic. But that's just because I like garlic. If you don't like garlic so much, you can obviously just use a couple of cloves. But I love garlic. I am a garlic girl. Alright? So, here's a little thing for you. You take your knife, you put your hand on the back of the knife, and you punch down on the garlic, and watch this. It comes right off. Peels perfectly. Just like that. See? And again, We're just pounding the crap out of that garlic. It also kind of helps get that garlic going soft so it's easier to handle. Use your aggression. You had a hard week? Take it out on your garlic. Kids driving you nuts? Take it out on your garlic. Just like that. And one more time. That one's a little bit tougher. See that? Husband's driving you nuts? Take it out on your garlic. And that's all it is, guys. That right there. Now, I'm just going to sit here and chop this up as finely as possible, as I possibly can. Nobody's perfect, though. You just do you. I've seen people put it in a food processor, makes it a little bit easier, but I prefer less dishes, so I'm just going to chop it up as best I can. For those of you who don't know, me and my husband started out this journey back in January. We wanted to do a whole year without meat and see what happened, mainly for our health concerns. My husband has always struggled with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all that stuff. Kind of runs in his family, you know. And as a lot of you guys know, I have fibromyalgia, which means it's hard for me to do a lot of my daily activities, which is part of the reason why most of the time I don't do live videos until the weekend, or whenever I'm feeling good enough to. I also have something called TOS, which I'm hoping to get the surgery done sometime in August. We shall see. You're looking for a really good caramelization on those onions. I never put anything else in the pot until I get the caramelization on the onions, because that caramelization is what's going to give it that really robust flavor. Washing my hands a little bit because that garlic's a little sticky. And we're just going to move all this garlic mess aside. There we go. Deal with you later. Now, most people will add Worcestershire sauce to this. I found that doing just a little bit of balsamic while the onions are reducing down and caramelizing really helps with that. It's just going to give those onions a nice dark color, which is what you're looking for. What, Mia? My dog's always in here because she's like, oh, are you cooking? Are you cooking again? Can I help? Can I see? Yes. Alright, so we're going to add in our garlic. About 4 cloves. And again, I have about medium-high heat. We're going to stir that around just a little bit, make sure that garlic's not going to get burned. That balsamic vinegar, guys, is good. Alright, so for my soups, I usually like using the middle part of the celery stalk. And the reason why is because nobody usually likes eating it. It's usually thrown in the garbage or, you know, tossed down the garbage disposal or something like that. And you know me, I don't like wasting things. So instead of putting it in my stock, which is what I usually will do, I like putting it in my soups. Plus you get that nice tenderness of the leaves. and it's absolutely awesome. Also, my carrots, I'm using 2 carrots tonight. I don't peel them because there's no need for it. I do wash them. I wash them thoroughly, but I don't peel them because there's just no need for it. So I go ahead and just chop off both ends, and I save all my little tidbits for my veggie broth. We're going to cut it in half, and the bottom half we're going to cut in half only, because that's usually the smaller part of the carrot. The top half we're going to cut in half, and then cut in half again. So see, this is my bottom half. I've only cut it in half. Alright? My top half of the carrot, I'm cutting in half twice on both sides. That way you have 4 little stalks. Alright? I'm going to do that again with my other carrot. Again, bottom half I'm only cutting in half. Top half I'm cutting in half twice. That way you're getting kind of the same size of all the vegetables. Stack them up all together, and you're going to chop them all the way down. Just like that. Some of them you might need to chop down a little bit more, give or take. Here we go. Carrots in the pot. Give it a stir. Beautiful. Celery, I keep it as is. Sometimes if it's a little bit too big, I'll chop it in half, but for the most part, I keep it as is. We're using our little crab-like hands, making sure we're not cutting ourselves. And that, my friends, in the cooking field is called the Holy Trinity. Carrots, onion, and celery. Your base to any soup. Just like that. This soup right here, my mom always asked for it whenever I come to town. I made it for them whenever I was in town back in June in Amarillo. All my siblings love it. None of them know that there's no meat in it, which is awesome. Alright, we got 2 russet potatoes. Because what's a soup without a little bit of robustness? We're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to cut it in 3s. Okay? And then we're going to dice it down the middle. So cut it in half, and then cut it in 3s, and then chop it down the middle. Just like that. 1 potato down, get it in there. You always want to do your hard vegetables first. With any soup, you want to make sure you do your hard vegetables first, because your softer vegetables like spinach and kale and things like that are going to cook a lot faster than a potato or a carrot or a celery. So again, cutting in half, cutting in 3s, and then dicing down the middle. Part of the reason why people don't cook is because they don't know how to cut up vegetables very much. If you have issues with that, you want to know what Martha Stewart, sorry, the French cook. Julia Child. When she was faced with a problem, she sat there and cut up a ton of onions because she was behind in her cooking class. Again, it was Julia Child. And she was actually the person that I first started loving cooking with. I would watch her shows on the late night Food Network whenever my husband was in, he was on mid-shifts back in the Hub in Shreveport. And I would sit up late back before I had kids and I had all the time in the world, and I would watch the Julia Child shows. And the movie came out with one of my favorite actresses, and she did the movie Julia and Julia. So if you ever get a chance to, please watch that movie. It's absolutely amazing. It's all about how this girl just all of a sudden was like, I want to become a cook. And she started watching the Julia Child shows and she started cooking, which is basically where my love of cooking came in. I was 6 months pregnant with my first child. And let me tell you, I did not know how to cook worth a darn. I used ramen noodles for our spaghetti. That's how much I knew how to cook. And I opened up a can of spaghetti sauce and I put it on top of the already cooked ramen noodles. That was how I cooked usually. So when I started watching these shows, way back when, about almost 10 years ago, I started doing things more. I wanted to make things from scratch, and my love just grew from there. And here I am, vegan, making vegetarian Minestrone soup on Facebook Live. Who knew? Alright, you want that to kind of cook down just a little bit, but most of your cooking is going to happen after. Hi Roberta, how are you? Most of your cooking is going to be after you put the lid on and let it simmer and marry together and everything like that. So, another tidbit, red wine vinegar, it's coming back. About 1/4 of a cup of red wine vinegar. You're going to let that just kind of marry away in there. Kind of deglaze the bottom of your pan. Another tidbit, my Kirkland tomato sauce. It's organic. It's from Costco because I love my Costco. I can get everything in bulk there. And I know it may be expensive at first, but let me tell you, I bought a whole case of this tomato paste back in March, and I still have some left, so it's worth it. About 1/2 can of tomato paste. Just like that. And you want the tomato paste in there to kind of marry together with the vegetables and cook down, and that's where the tomato paste is going to bring out its beauty in all the whole dish. It's absolutely wonderful. Alright, what else we got? So these you actually don't want to use until you've got all your liquids in there because they cook so quickly. These are your softer vegetables, alright? You don't want them cooking down so much like you do the potato and the carrot and everything. Alright, so before we start adding all of our liquids, we're going to do some salt, which again I have pink Himalayan sea salt. But if you don't have that, you just have regular kosher salt, that's fine. But mind you, iodized salt is not good for you. Just, yeah. I don't remember all the reasons why it's not good for you, but I just know it's not good for you. Salt, pepper. Love my pepper. Just like that. Make sure you give it a good stir. I'm going to give you guys a look-see at this so you can see what it's like. It's how you want it to look, alright? here we go. I got my homemade veggie broth because it's free and I use all the ends of all of my veggies. Crunchy mama. Here we go. I'm doing about 3 8-ounce cans of veggie broth. And it's really simple. I was going to show you guys how I did my veggie broth today, but since I still had 3 cans left, I was like, well, I might as well use it up before I do another round of it. There we go. 3 cans of veggie broth, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, which again are Kirkland, the brand from Costco. Whoops, don't run away on me. Just like that. We're going to kind of stir it together. And then I'm going to add 2 cans of water. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit because we want it to come to a rolling boil. We got 1 can. And 2 cans of water. If you need more water, you can add more water later. But for now, 2 cans will be just fine. Love my measuring techniques, huh? Just want to make sure that it's all nice and mixed together. Alright. Now, as I said before, I boiled my beans because I did not have time to let them, you know, sit out overnight. I'm lazy like that, apparently. This is what you're looking for, to be doubled in size. So you put it on the pot. If you haven't got time to sit there and wait overnight, you put it on your pot, cover it with water, boil it for 30 minutes, wait until it comes to the doubled size, and you're good to go. And this awesome little bean mixture has lima beans and pinto beans and red beans, lentils. I don't remember how much is in there. Hang on. Let's see. We got small red beans. We got green split peas, yellow split peas, black-eyed peas, lentils, pinto beans, pink beans, black beans, light red kidney beans. Basically every bean that you can imagine. There's like a whole list of them. Still, I'd probably go on forever if I listed the whole thing. So we're putting our beans in there. Y'all ready for this next little tidbit? My husband planted me a garden this year. I'm so excited about it. So I've got some fresh rosemary, some fresh thyme. I've got some fresh oregano. Ain't nobody got time to sit here and peel off all those little bitty leaves. Right? Right? Hang on. I got something for you. This is called kitchen string. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond, which is where I got mine, because it's like a whole roll and it lasts forever. And I'm taking my kitty shears and I'm just cutting me off a little piece. Ah. Hence the reason why they're for crafting and not for cooking. Oh well. Anyways, so I'm going to take my little bundle of herbs. Alright? I got all the cute little herbs in there. I'm going to sit here and tie it up in a not so fancy way because, again, ain't nobody got time to sit there and get all those little bitty leaves off all those fresh herbs. But I love fresh herbs in the minestrone soup. It's very well worth it. It is so worth it. Now, if you don't have fresh, you can obviously use dried. But again, like I said, I like using fresh whenever it comes to any of my soups. And look at that. Isn't it a cute little bundle? And guess what? That's it. You just throw it in there. And after everything is complete and put together, you just take some little, tongs or whatever, and you fish it out. and all the little goodness is in there, basically. All the little bitty leaves are going to fall apart, basically. They're going to go into your soup, and you're going to be left with the stalks. Awesome, right? I would have never known that if I hadn't have been watching Food Network. All right, so we got our little bundle in there. We got our tomatoes. Now, okay, usually a minestrone soup has some kind of pasta, right? Well, I didn't want to do pasta. I wanted to give it a little bit more protein and a little bit more depth. And one of the things that I love in soup is called barley. We got some pearl barley here. Gives you a little bit extra protein. You got 4 grams per 1/4 of a cup of barley. You got our beans, which has protein in it, obviously about 9 grams of protein. So I've already cooked my barley. Because barley expands so well in soup, sometimes it ends up just taking over, and you end up having to put like 8 quarts of water in there afterwards because the barley soaked up all of the goodness. So instead of letting it cook in the soup, I went ahead and just cooked it in my little Instapot thing over here. It was 1 cup of barley, 2½ cups of water, and about a teaspoon of salt. We're going to make a mess. There goes our barley. That's going to, it's going to give it a little bit of depth. And I love the chewiness of barley, by the way. I love the chewiness of barley. It's awesome. And that is our pasta instead. So this is a gluten-free version of an awesome minestrone soup. Just like that. Now, we're not, like I said, we're not going to cut up these little veggies until later and put them in because they cook so quickly. But I'm going to show you how I go ahead and, you know, slice them up. Again, I save all my little bits. Veggie broth. Any kind of ends or peelings that you have, just go ahead. All right, so I cut the zucchini in half, all right? I cut it in half, and then I'm cutting it in half again, all right? And just like the potato, in thirds. Thirds on the bottom. And just like that. Somebody asked me earlier today how I keep all my veggies so fresh for 2 weeks because I don't go to the grocery store again after I'm done. Once I'm done grocery shopping, I'm done. So one of my little things that I do, I make sure and give all of my veggies and my fruits a nice good vinegar bath. I fill up the sink with water, I put about 1/2 cup of vinegar in there, let it sit, drain it, dry everything, hand towel, and then I put them all in Ziploc baggies. That way they stay fresh for 2 weeks. And I don't have to worry about it then. So with the top half, we're only going to cut in half because we want everything to be even sized, right? Top half, cut in half. Just like that. So we got our zucchini, and we're basically going to do the same thing with our yellow squash. Again, saving the ends for my broth. I'm going to cut it in half, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. Bottom half, cut into thirds, cut into thirds, just like that. That way we've got a nice even amount of veggies. Top half we're only cutting in half, and then in half again. You want an even amount of veggies. You want them to all be like even sized parts because you want them all to cook evenly. All right? Look in here. See how they're all pretty much the same size? Just like that. By the way, that's what our soup looks like. Gorgeous, beautiful, lush minestrone soup. We got that barley in there. We got like 16 beans in there. There's our little bundle that we did of herbs. We got a potato and carrot, tomatoes, all kinds of awesome looking veggies. Beautiful, right? Alright, so one more thing. I buy kale at Aldi in the bag because you can get so much more for your buck than if you just buy it in bundles, believe it or not. And it's already pre-cut for you and everything. So, we're going to go ahead and do about, let's say 2 handfuls of our beautiful kale right there. Make sure you, if there's any stalks, get them out of there because nobody likes crunching on those stalks. And that's going to reduce down in that soup. I am telling you, this is like, and this will last for weeks. This soup right here will last me and my husband for weeks. My kids will probably only want to eat it like once or twice, but me and my husband will eat on this for a few weeks. And if we don't feel like it, it's called putting it in a container and putting it in the freezer. It freezes really well. Really, really well. Alright? Now, I know that we salted this before whenever we had all of our veggies in there. But we're going to go ahead and salt it again. Because it's very important to make sure that your food tastes good, right? Salt and pepper. One more time. Just like that. And usually you wait until the last minute to put the wine in because you want that dark, luscious flavor. Now, all of the alcohol is going to cook out of it, but that dark, luscious flavor of the red wine is going to be absolutely life-changing. I have a, well, this is a $3 wine from Aldi. It's called Winking Owl. It's a Shiraz, but you can use whatever red wine you drink. Speaking of drinking, you always want to make sure and taste your red wine. If you don't want to drink it, then you don't want to put it in your food, alright? Make sure and taste it. If you like it, go ahead and put it in there. If you don't, throw it out and try another kind. But I like a good, robust wine. So we're going to about a cup of red wine. Hi, Uncle Rick. How are you? Thank you for joining me. So we got a cup of red wine. Usually for a minestrone soup, it's a combination. The original minestrone is a combination of chicken broth and beef broth. But again, we're not using those today, which is why I'm doing the wine. It's also why I'm adding the red wine vinegar and the balsamic and everything, because it will give it that depth of flavor that we're looking for in a good minestrone soup. Alright? I do like all wine. I do like all wine. All wine is good. Anything with wine in it is good, basically. Alright, so this is kind of cooked down just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add our yellow squash and our zucchini. More veggies. The minestrone soup was actually made up by an Italian mama way back when she literally had every vegetable in the garden that she had to cook with and everything was fixing to go bad. So she literally just threw everything in a pot and was like, done. That's how you get rid of your vegetables. As you can tell, this is a very big pot. And it's absolutely full to the brim. To the brim. With veggies and goodness and beans. It's so awesome. Y'all gotta see this. Do you see that goodness? Now, we're going to let this marry for about 30 minutes, all right? Because a good soup is only finished whenever it's 30 minutes later. Whenever I finish with this, I'm going to add some lemon zest in there because you don't want to add the lemon zest right now. It's going to turn kind of bitter and everything whenever it's sitting in there. But I'm going to scrape over some lemon zest, I'm going to pop in some lemon juice, and it brings out that brightness and the freshness of all those vegetables. Thank you so much for joining me. I made a dill pickle pasta salad today. What? Dude, share that recipe. I love dill pickles. Dill pickles are my thing. All right. Thank you, Uncle Rick. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Veronica, for staying with me this whole time. If you guys have any questions about this recipe or any other recipes, please do me a favor and send me a comment, send me a message, share whatever information that I have for you. I would love to give to you. Thank you so much for joining me today.